What up, guys? So this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and what I've been wanting to do is I've been wanting to break down this Yuri Bezmenov video while I'm talking to y'all about it, and here's my chance to do it. Let me tell y'all something. This video is one of the most important videos you can ever hear. That's why I keep talking about it. I think it's easy to get lost in this video if an individual tries to go out on their own and listen to it because of maybe the way he looks or his accent or what he's talking, what some of the words he's saying that's making you go off track. So I said, Spirit said, go do a video where let's walk through this video together, y'all, because of course I'm gonna stop it every few seconds to talk about what he just said to go over it. I don't think this video is hitting the people the way it should be because again, this is one of the most. I mean, this guy. This is amazing to me, y'all. I'm a high IQ person. This is absolutely amazing what this guy is saying, especially with the fact that this was in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? In the 80s, this guy knew exactly, and here we are, 30 something years later. Here we are, almost 35 years later. And what this man is saying, I'm looking at dead in my. I mean, it's just, it really it brings a shock value to me. You know what I'm saying? That this individual was talking like this in the 80s, where everything seemed okay in the 80s, right? People were making money. You had a strong middle class. You couldn't really realize this, and that's the thing that really gets me. The way the devil is so clever. I mean, in the 80s, you had a strong middle class. So how could you get a strong middle class to listen to something like this? You really couldn't. Not unless you came from another country and witnessed what had happened and saw the signs and symbols that it was going to happen in America. Because I guarantee you, if you had tried to show American this video in the 80s, they wouldn't have wanted to listen to you. They were too busy making money and about to buy their second house. They were doing good. Why do you want to listen to this stuff? He said, you crazy. What's wrong with you? You've been watching too many James Bond movies. James Bond movies. Oh my God, yo. And now here we are. This man's words. And and we're just, guys, oh, I swear. Ooh, I can't wait to go over this with y'all. I've been wanting to do this. That's why I told one of these African guys out here, man. I said, yeah, man. He was talking about he busy. I mean, you ain't busy, man. I told this African guy, I said, I said, I ain't trying to disrespect you. African people are lazy, man. I said, do you understand the way America works? Like, I'm basically like, well, it's not just Africans. A lot of men are lazy, not just Africans. I do about 3 times worth of work. Yeah, I told y'all I was 3 times stronger than average man. I also do 3 times more as much work as a man. That's the average man in America. I do 3 times as much. My mental. That's why I have to take GABA. GABA, because my mind is moving so fast sometimes, guys, with so much information. I gotta literally numb myself down. I gotta just numb myself out, and GABA does the job, does the trick. Anyway, getting back to this video, guys. It's just we're gonna go over some of these catchphrases that this man is saying, so we can see how this is one of the most intelligent, predictive programming speeches I have ever heard in my life. Every time I listen to this speech, guys, I just get like, I just the shock value. I wouldn't call it chills, but it's just a shock value that goes up and down my spine as I'm listening to this man spit out information that I've heard on the mainstream news within the last 2 years. I said, oh my God, oh my God. And then he starts talking in a certain way, people around you that are trapped under this paradigm. He lays the whole thing out. I can just see everything. It's like I told y'all in the past, it's like a train coming down the tracks, man. And a bunch of people are, I don't know, they just standing on the tracks, out laughing, playing loud music, drinking whiskey. They think no train comes down that track, but I see the train coming because I'm far away and I'm seeing them and I'm seeing a train and I'm shouting out to these people and this train is coming. People ain't hearing you. They just keep up. Matter of fact, the more you shout, the more they just keep laughing and having more of a good time. Meanwhile, this train is getting closer and closer. See? Oh, all right, man. I think I'm ready. Oh, man. Give me some of that. Give me 1 second, y'all. Jesus Christ. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that, y'all. Oh my God. Let's see. All right, let's get to this. Let's get to this. I got it on the car speakers. All right, let's get to this.
Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets used the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug their bananas from their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it. There's no mystery. There's nothing to do with espionage. I know that espionage intelligence gathering looks more romantic. It sells more deodorants through the advertising, probably. That's why your Hollywood producers are so crazy about James Bond type of thrillers. But in reality, the main emphasis of the KGB is not in the air.
All right, let's stop it right there. Just stop it right there. I'm going to say this real quick. This is kind of where I think people are listening to this lecture, they kind of get lost because he mentions James Bond, he mentions espionage, and a lot of people don't really identify with these type of phrases. And then when he mentions KGB, then, oh, I think I heard that name before in Russia. So you right there, imagine trying to explain this to an American in the 80s, and they think you've been watching too many movies. Like, that's not the middle class. Once again, the middle class is strong. Why are you listening to what this man is talking about? And even an American nowadays has problems dealing with this. And as far as what he's talking about with espionage, we're expecting something to happen like you see in the movies. We're expecting, all this stuff to be happening, things blowing up. Well, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have things blow up, but it's not gonna be like the movies. You're expecting espionage, and it's this one key figure. You're not expecting, by the time basically what I'm trying to say, by the time you realize what's going on, everything been already happened already, because it's covert. And then, remember, he's just telling you about how he watched what happened where he's from, and now how he sees all the signs and symbols coming to these Americans while they just totally asleep. All right, let's keep it going.
Of intelligence at all. According to my opinion and opinion of many defectors of my caliber, only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
Okay, stop it right there. And it's just, that's one of the things I was talking about, with the situation, guys, with the woman going to work, and she's supposed to be at home being a good wife and a good mother, not going out here and working. But that's just one variable. There are many variables as far as not being able to defend yourself, defend your family, defend your community, your so-called loved ones, defend them. That's why a lot of times when your so-called loved ones pass away, You always hear people saying, "I wish I could have done that." Well, well, why ain't you doing it? Number one, but number two, everybody's programmed to not be able to do anything about their situation to protect, like he said, themselves, their families, their children, their wives, their husbands. Nobody's able to do nothing. Although you have all the abundant information right in your face, and you can call one of your friends, your best friends up, or your family, they ain't gonna be trying to hear you. It's nothing you can do. And this is what I'm talking about. These people on this train track, you see the train coming, but for some reason, the louder you shout, the more they keep laughing and taking more drinks. Okay? And you about to realize that you about to watch a bunch of people about to get run down by this freight train. It's about to be a bloodbath. Yet nobody can do nothing to defend themselves. You see? And this is what I'm talking about with having me dating and having a wife. This woman has to really understand what's going on. She can't be taking personal my daily personality. As long as I'm going out and bringing home the bacon, that's all she should be concerned about. She shouldn't be concerned about how much of her ass am I kissing. And that's another thing too. They give us all these movies. Women, no one knows what love really is. Love is painful. It's not this thing, like Bobby Hemmings say you see on the movies. That's why a lot of people got failed relationships, because they're expecting the love to be like something they seen on the movies. It's not like that at all. I'm talking about real love. You see, real love is not like that at all. It's not peaches and cream. It's not. And this time, if I end up dating, I have to let this woman know from the beginning. This is first of all, we are fucked right now. This is not, oh, I can't wait till the first time I kiss you, and oh, I wonder how quick am I going to get in bed with it. No, this is not. No, this got to be a whole different type of agenda now. We have to have there has to be an understanding, okay, that this is your job and this is my job, and it's no games. No more games. No games being played. Don't play no games with me. I won't play no games with you. We don't have time to play games. Maybe if this was a few years ago, I will have time to play pity pat games with you. But now, because of the day and hour we living in, you have to be very serious about any type of relationship, whether it's a friendship or between a man and a woman. Things are serious now, guys. There's no more time playing games. I wish I can play games with you. I can't play no more games with you, because this is very serious times. It's not funny anymore. And as this man said, no one is able to protect themselves. Despite the abundant information that's right in front of your face, people still don't want to talk about it. Let's move on. You can't even defend yourself.
It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black. You still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid of society of these people, you need enough.
And that's what we're talking about. What's right is wrong, and what's wrong is right. And regardless of the abundant information to sit down and show somebody, these people have been programmed. And this is another reason why Joseph Chaperon said that 70% of these people out here are robots. How do we know that? because a robot, it has to go along with the program. That's why they call it television programming. Who is it programming? Who's it telling the lies to the people's visions? Well, it's these people with these calcified pineal glands. It's these robots. They're taking in the programming, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's how we know Chaperone was right. 70% of these people are robots, because a real human being that come from God, we can listen to something and believe it wholeheartedly. But if somebody wants to sit down with me and debate about something, I'm not a robot. I can sit there and listen to you and talk about it in every single detail. You see? But most people cannot do that. They take in the stimuli, they take in the programming, and then that's all they know. You can't change their mind, regardless of what information you show this individual. An individual that is demoralized cannot be changed. But they gotta be robots. To me, that's my opinion. Let's move on.
20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States society.
And yet these people who've been programmed and, as you say, in place, and who are favorable to an opening with the Soviet concept, these are the very people who would be marked for extermination in this country?
Most of them, yes. Simply because the psychological shock when they will see in future what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice, obviously they will revolt.
Okay, so all the people that's wearing masks and conforming and all the gay agenda, I told you I believe these mugs just got an unlimited budget. Because when you go over here on the north side of Chicago, they just having too much fun. To me, it seems like they got some kind of unlimited budget. This type of social this LGBTQ stuff. These people are being funded to act like this. Okay, I don't think a lot of these people even work real jobs, and if they do, they being way overpaid. These people don't look like they're stressed out about getting up the next day going to work at all. So somebody's funding these people. Most likely some kind of George Soros or something. But these people are being programmed to destroy everything. They're part of the demoralization process. But the thing is, all this, I always tell y'all, they just wood for the fire. Because when it really takes over what they really want, those people are gonna be destroyed. They're just being used. All the Black Lives Matter people and LGBTQ, they actually think that they are part of something that's gonna be sustainable. No, they're just wood for the fire. The same people that the elites are funding to demoralize everybody is the same people that they're gonna send to the gas chambers. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Let's move on.
They will be very unhappy, frustrated people. And the Marxist-Leninist regime does not tolerate these people. They will join the links of dissenters, dissidents. Unlike in present United States, there will be no place for dissent in future Marxist-Leninist America. Here you can get popular like Daniel Ellsberg and filthy rich like Jane Fonda for being dissident, for criticizing your Pentagon. In future, these people will be simply squashed like cockroaches. Nobody is going to pay them nothing for their beautiful, noble ideas of equality. This they don't understand, and it will be a greatest shock for them, of course.
See, and that's why, with the whole Martin Luther King program, whenever you hear about equality, you know that that's evil. I always say equality causes cognitive dissonance. Why? Because it is no equality. There's not even equality between a husband and a wife. There's not even equality under the household. And as y'all seen in that Pastor Dow link that I left you guys, he explained that to you. There's no equality between a husband and a wife. Somebody is the CEO of the company and the other person is an employee. But it's not to say that one is better than the other, but we all have our role to play down here. But people don't want to play their roles. They want to say that we're all equal, and we're not equal. Even if you try to pretend to be equal, it doesn't work. Equality causes mental illness. Let's move on.
The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years. Actually, it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of...
You see that? And most of this stuff, they don't even... That's why I say, these people who give me thumbs down, that dude I cursed out yesterday, he gives me a thumbs down. What's that going to... What's that going to do? So they actually expecting us to kill each other while they watch us from all these cameras. How are they going to do that? I guarantee you they got a good plan. Just like when the people were snitching on each other during this pandemic. You hear your neighbor coughing, all of a sudden somebody's maybe from the CDC is knocking on your door. Your very own enemy is your next door neighbor. Let's move on.
Moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. So basically, America is stuck with demoralization, and unless, even if you start right now, here, this minute, you start educating new generation of Americans, it will still take you 15 to 20 years to turn the tide of ideological perception of reality back to normalcy and
See, and where have we heard that word from, guys? Normalization. The new normal. Wasn't we hearing about that during the scandemic? We kept hearing people like Tucker Carlson talk about the new normal. Oh my God, y'all. Remember, this man said this in the 80s. If you had to talk to the average American about this guy, they would have said, you watching too many James Bond movies. Come back to reality. Life is good. I'm buying my second home. I've just invested in real estate. Why are you talking about this stuff? Let's move on.
Patriotism. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore.
Okay, destabilization. Guys, I do gig black and gig red. When do I make most of my money? From the hours of 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. What did I tell y'all? I said if this was 20 years ago, I wouldn't be making no money because people had to go to bed. You had to be in bed. It was unheard of. It was sinful to eat after 10, 11 o'clock. If your parents caught you eating after 11 o'clock, even if your wife caught you eating after 11 o'clock, or your doctor, they would say shame on you. You would feel bad. You used to go to the gas station and hide some snacks under your bed so nobody would know you eating after 11. Now, it's a big orgy. It's a big orgy of food fest. Nobody cares. Everybody's doing what they want to do. McDonald's stays open 24 hours, right? Never closes. You can get a Big Mac anytime you want. If you want a burger at breakfast, you can have it in breakfast. If you want a Big Mac at 1 a.m., you can have a Big Mac at 1 a.m. Now, everything is just up for grabs. Just do what you want to do. Aleister Crowley, do as thou wilt. Nobody cares. Your doctor is not going to try to tell you, you need to lose weight. No, just let them destroy themselves. And this is what I'm going to talk to you guys about probably tomorrow with Joseph Chappellon about what is the plan. The plan is to let these people destroy themselves, right? And they're going to watch us from all the cameras. Let's move on.
This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation. It's what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations.
Where do we hear that word from, guys? Essential. Well, don't y'all just remember? You was either essential or non. Oh my God, non-essential. Let's move on.
Defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast.
So here's this guy. He came to the western side of the world in the 70s, and he already knew what the program was. In the 70s, guys, the 70s, I heard, was the best era of all time. People were partying, Michael Jackson, dancing. She's a dancing machine. People were doing drugs, smoking weed. Nobody cared. Cops wasn't messing with you. They was sniffing coke, too, while they was on their shift. The 70s disco. I mean, they was having a ball. And here's this man. He comes over here in the 70s, and he's already seen that it's already gotten started. Meanwhile, nobody has a clue. Let's move on.
The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in 1968, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia."
You see? The new normal, y'all. And what did he say? It's gonna last indefinitely. That's that. You know what that means, right, guys? That means buckle up your seatbelts, because things ain't gonna never go back to normal. It's only gonna get worse from here on out, guys. And that's why I advise women. You need to be with men. I'm not saying be with me, because I'm only one man, but you need to set some standards for the type of men you get out here, because I mean, how do you want to die? You want to die smarter, or you want to die stupid? Okay, 1,000 ways to die. Choose one, right? Oh my God. Guys, the new normal, and he's just telling you right there, this is the calm before the storm. When you hear them talk about normalization, the new normal, things will never be the same, guys. Buckle up your seatbelts. Let's move on.
Is normalized. This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things. Never mind. But this is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put...
That's what happened during the scamdemic, guys. How many small businesses went out of business? See, and once again, this guy was seeing this happening before I was born. It's like, and the only reason he was able to see it was because he had went through it in his back home in his own country. So even though the average American could not see that the ball was getting rolling with this Marxism, he's seen it. I mean, I remember being in school in the 80s. Everything they was teaching us was that Marxism was over. This is the land of the free. I'm buying a house. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna get an associate's degree, and I'm gonna go work at the hospital and make 35,000, 40,000 a year. And then in 20 years, if I do that, I own my house. And I mean, guys, oh my God! But this dude, he's seen the ball was already getting rolling. That's amazing. Let's move on.
A big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. He will go to Moscow to kiss the bottoms of new generation of Soviet assassins, never mind. He will create false illusions that the situation is under control. Situation is not under control. Situation is disgustingly out of control. Most of the American politicians, media, and educational system trains another generation of people who think they are living at a peacetime. False. The United States is in a state of war, undeclared total war against the basic principles and the foundations of this system.
And that's the first thing they had to do was destroy the family. Okay, that's the first thing they had to do was destroy the family, Remember, women did not go to work in the 1950s, guys. That's not act like the 50s was thousands of years ago. Okay, the 50s was just yesterday. All right, I don't care if I wasn't born. The 50s was just yesterday. Women did not wear jeans. It was unheard of women wearing jeans and taking a lunch bucket and a hard hat and heading off to work. You go, girl. You go, girl. I mean, it's a joke, y'all. It's a sick joke. Um, everything has been demoralized, and that's the whole plan of uh, how do you say Marxism, communism. That's the whole thing. And then they gave us the Simpsons, right? The Simpsons was the first cartoon where you actually seen like the children like disrespecting the father. And believe it or not, people get programmed by that. You know, what Bart used to say to Homer, "Eat my shorts." That was unheard of. They start they start selling "Eat my shorts" T-shirts. That was like, oh my, like you gotta remember, I was like, oh my God. Just remember, guys, episodes like I Love Lucy, they didn't even show man and woman sleeping in the same bed. Guys, this was just yesterday. They didn't even, guys, look how it has deteriorated so fast. I Love Lucy. They didn't even show the man and woman sleeping in the same bed, y'all. Which I told you, actually, we're not supposed to sleep in bed, but I don't want to confuse people, so we'll talk about that later. But oh my God, this dude is so spot on. Let's move on.
And the initiator of this war is not Comrade Andropov, of course. It's the system. However ridiculous it may sound, the world communist system or the world communist conspiracy, whether I scare some people or not, I don't give a hoot. If you are not scared by now, nothing can scare you. But you don't have to be paranoid about it. What actually happens now, that unlike myself, you have literally several years to live on unless the United States wake up. The time bomb is ticking, that every second the disaster is coming closer and closer. Unlike myself, you will have nowhere to defect to unless you want to live in Antarctica with penguins. This is it. This is the last country of freedom and possibility.
Okay, so what do we do? What is your recommendation to the American people?
Well, the immediate thing that comes to my mind is, of course, there must be a very strong national effort to educate people in the spirit of real patriotism.
I'm gonna stop it right there, guys. It's only about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left in the video. That's not prophesized to happen. I'm just gonna cut it off right there because this is headed towards total destruction. And you guys, you can listen to Joseph Chapelon if you want to hear about that. Matter of fact, I think at the end of this video, I'll leave this link of Yuri Bezmenov, and I'll leave a link of Joseph Chapelon. Because as you see here, when a man asked him, well, what can we do? It's clearly there's nothing we can do. Even he gestured, the way he postured in his chair, that's what he really wanted to say. But he didn't want to deflect that question. You know, he wanted to remain you got to have some sense of balance. If you're trying to make a point to the people, but you could tell he knows it's nothing that's going to stop this unless you destroy all those people that have been programmed to go down this, to get run over by that train. So I'm going to stop it right here, y'all, and I'll leave a couple links. And man, it's really something. Talk to y'all later. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Peace.